Hello, dear DSC candidates. Welcome back to my Grammar for Success channel. I am Koresh Babu, a retired lecturer in English from Hyderabad. In today's video, I am going to teach you the poem The Earthen Goblet written by Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. And this poem is very important from your DSC examination point of view. And therefore, I request all of you to watch this video till the end without skipping it in the middle. And I also request all of you to consider subscribing to my channel and also sharing this video with all your friends who are also going to take the DSC examination very shortly. Thank you so much. Now let's get into the video. The Earthen Goblet written by Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. And this poem is a very beautiful poem, very interesting poem, very simple poem also. And before I teach you this poem, I would like to tell you a few things both about the renowned poet Harindranath Chatopadhyaya and also about this poem, The Earthen Goblet. So, first of all, I would like to talk to you a few things about Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. You know very well, Harindranath Chatopadhyaya was born in 1898 into a prominent family in Hyderabad. He was a renowned Indian poet, dramatist, and actor. He was also known for his significant contributions to the Indian literature and performing arts. You also know very well, he was the younger brother of Sarojini Naidu, a famous poet and a noted freedom fighter. And his works are characterized by lyrical beauty, deep philosophical insights, and social consciousness. And he wrote extensively both in English and Bengali. And his poetry often explored the themes of human existence, spirituality, and the natural world. Apart from poetry, he also wrote plays, essays, and children's literature, showcasing his versatility as a writer. Versatility as a writer means he was an all-round writer. So he wrote not only poetry but also essays, stories, children's literature. So that is there. And in addition to his literary achievements, he was also an accomplished actor and singer. Okay, and he appeared in some movies or some films and in some theatrical productions, bringing his dramatic talents to the forefront. Okay, and this is all about this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. And now I would like to talk to you a few things about this poem, The Earthen Goblet. This Earthen Goblet is a reflective poem. The poet thinks about some object and takes pity on that object. So it's a reflective poem, and in this poem he explores the theme of transformation, the loss of life, and also the conflict between natural existence and artificial form. Okay, and this poem is structured as a dialogue between the poet and the goblet. Okay, and here in this poem, the poet addresses the goblet, the lifeless object. The goblet, you know very well, the lifeless object, and you ask that goblet how it felt or what its feelings were when it was being twirled or rotated on the potter's wheel. So really a very interesting poem. That's why I have taken up this poem now itself, and moreover this is going to be very important for your DSC examination. Okay, because he was a popular Indian poet, a renowned Indian poet. So generally in the examination, the Indian poets will be given top priority. Okay, as compared with the foreign or British poets or American poets or something like that. Of course, they are also given importance, but they are given top priority, more importance than those people. Okay, that is the pattern of the examination. And now, what all I taught you here orally, I would like to give them on this slide so that you can keep this slide as a record. You can look at all of them very quickly. I'll go over them. Come on, look at these things. And here about the poet, okay, Harindranath Chatopadhyaya was born in 1898 and he died in 1990, and that means he lived for 92 years, a long life he lived in. Okay, that's the greatness of this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. He was a blessed person and he was born into a prominent family in Hyderabad. He was born in Hyderabad only in a prominent family, and you know very well this was the younger brother of Sarojini Naidu, a famous poet, a great freedom fighter. You know that very well. And here about this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya, another point is there. Please keep all these points in your mind. What is that? He was a renowned means celebrated or popular Indian poet, dramatist, and actor. See the talents of that person. Therefore, you can call him a multi-talented person or a multi-faceted person. Okay, right. And you go to third point. He was known for his significant contributions. He contributed, okay, to a larger extent to what? To the Indian literature. He wrote so many essays, so many short stories, so many plays, okay, so many poems. All those literary works contributed a lot to the Indian literature. That's the meaning. And performing arts. Okay, that means he acted in some of the movies and theatrical productions. And in that way, to this performing arts, there was his contribution. Okay, that means he acted in some of the films and all that. That you know very well. And next point here is he was the younger brother of Sarojini Naidu, a famous poet and freedom fighter. This is yet another point about this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. And now let's go to the next slide to learn about other important things. Okay, Harindranath's literary works, okay, all literary works, what do? They are characterized, they are described, they have one beautiful characteristic. What is that? Their lyrical beauty. In all these literary works, you can find lyrical beauty, you can find deep philosophical insights and social consciousness. These three things you can find in his literary works. So that is another important point about his biography. And he wrote extensively both in English and in Bengali. Right, and his poetry often explored themes of human existence, spirituality, and the natural world. So here, coming to this point, he wrote not only in English but also in Bengali, because he was born of Bengali parents. Harindranath Chatopadhyaya was his father, and Varada Sundari Devi was his mother. So because you learnt about this when I taught you the poem in the bazaars of Hyderabad. Okay, here therefore he was a Bengali man. He knows the Bengali language. His parents were Bengali parents, therefore he knows Bengal. Therefore he wrote extensively, Vistrutanga, what? Both in English and in Bengali, right? And okay, his poetry often explored what? The themes of human existence. Okay, this is very near to the human beings and all the people. Okay, spirituality, adhyatmikata, and the natural world. Okay, and all about these themes, he wrote in his poetry. Okay, and go to the next point. Apart from poetry, he also wrote plays, essays, and children's literature. Okay, and showcasing his versatility as a writer. Versatility means what? He is an all-rounder writer. All-round writer means he was a poet, okay, playwright, essayist, children's literature writer. So all these things are there. Okay, and in addition to his literary achievements, Harindranath Chatopadhyaya was an accomplished means a celebrated actor and singer. Okay, that is there. Okay, these are the points I have already dealt with in my oral explanation, and now some more points are left. I'm also going to give you those things. Okay, a few more points about this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. He appeared in several films, okay, and theatrical productions also, and bringing his dramatic talents in him to the forefront. Okay, that point also I have dealt with, and please keep this point in your mind. And last point about this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya is this: his multifaceted career. Multifaceted means his all-round career. Okay, his ability to engage with diverse artistic forms. Okay, have left a lasting legacy in Indian culture and literature. Even today, we remember this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya for his great literature. Now let's learn about the poem. About the poem. The Earthen Goblet by Harindranath Chatopadhyaya is a reflective poem. The poet thinks of the object and about its pathetic condition because when it was a part and parcel of the earth, okay, mother earth, it was very happy. But when it was turned into an artificial object, into a goblet means it is nothing but an artificial object, a lifeless object. Now what happens now? From transformation from natural existence to artificial form, the poet is deploring that kind of transformation. Really, it's very pathetic. So that's why it's a reflective poem, and here it explores the themes of transformation, loss of life, the conflict between natural existence and artificial form. So natural existence is more important than artificial form. Okay, so here I have got some flowers, here in my house. So they are not natural flowers. Natural flowers are really fragrant and beautiful, but artificial flowers are like this only. They are not fragrant. They don't have life at all. Of course, they look like real flowers, but they don't have life at all. Okay, but that in the same way, natural life, natural existence is greater than artificial life and artificial form. Okay, that point is dealt with in this poem, and the poem is structured as a dialogue. It's a kind of dialogue. The poet asked the goblet how it had felt when it was being twirled or swiveled or rotated on the potter's wheel. How it felt. The poet asks this goblet. The goblet replies or answers that question. Okay, it gives reply to that question. And here, what does the poet say? The speaker or the poet addresses the goblet, addressing the inanimate object. Goblet means it's a kind of pot. This is that goblet. Okay, this is that goblet. Some kind of picture, kunda, goblet, the gabu. Goblet gabu. In the rural areas, people say gabu. Okay, it's a big pot. Okay, goblet. Okay, and here he is addressing this goblet. When you address an inanimate object, that is called apostrophe. You know that. Oh goblet, oh sun, oh death, oh night. So the poets addressed those inanimate and abstract things. That is called apostrophe, and that is a beautiful figure of speech. About the figures of speech, you know very well. That was dealt with in a separate video. Figures of speech part 1, figures of speech part 2. Please, if time permits you, you can watch it and get some knowledge out of that. Okay, the speaker addresses the goblet, asking how it felt when it was being shaped. I had better say twirled. Okay, on the potter's wheel. On the potter's wheel, what happens now? The potter will twirl it. So this is all about this poem, and now we are going to learn about the poem. Okay, please listen to it very carefully so that you can enjoy the beauty of the poem, the music of the poem, the greatness of the poem, and all that. Okay, text of the poem, the Earthen Goblet, and here this is the there are as many as 17 lines in the poem, and they are not in some literary form, I think. And in some stanza there are 4 lines, in some other stanza there are 6 lines, 5 lines, 2 lines, like that. This is a free verse. Okay, in the free verse, what happens? No meter is followed, no rhyme scheme is followed. That is there. And now you see the meaning of this. Okay, before you see the meaning of this, just you see this picture also. This is the earthen goblet. Earthen pot, earthen goblet. Okay, let us call it an earthen goblet. So here the poet, what is he doing? He is directly addressing this goblet. What is he saying? Oh silent goblet. Silent, he has used this word silent. Silent in the sense the goblet. So it's, look at this goblet. It is silent. Silent means lifeless. It has no life at all. So here, therefore it is silent. If it has life, it would speak, it can talk. Okay, but here, that's why here he is addressing this goblet, and he says, oh silent goblet, red from head to heel. Red from, you are red. How are you? You are red from top to bottom. Okay, this is that picture I'll draw here. Okay, this is what? So from top to bottom, this is red. The earthenware are generally red because they are burnt in some furnace. Okay, and that's why they are red. The earth, when burnt, turns into red color. When earth means matti, earth means bhumi, that's one meaning. You can also call it clay. When it is burnt, what happens now? This clay or earth loses its life and it turns into red color. So therefore, this earthen goblet is red in color from top to bottom. Now you can see the red color also here. And now he is addressing this goblet. He says, "Oh, silent goblet, lifeless goblet, you are red from top to bottom. How did you feel when you were being twirled upon the potter's wheel?" So this is called enjoyment. That sentence is just running into the next line. This is called enjoyment. So in this poem, you can find enjoyment is employed very often. So that's why this is the first example. How did you feel when you were being twirled upon the potter's wheel? Oh, earthen goblet, how did you feel? What were your feelings when you were being twirled? Twirled means what? In other words, swirled. Swirled means what? You can also say rotated. Okay, rotated. When it is rotated on that wheel, potter's wheel, and the poet is asking, "Hello, oh earthen goblet, what were your feelings when you were being twirled?" That means rotated and rotated and rotated on the potter's wheel. What were your feelings? How did you feel? That he says. And before the potter gave you to the world, before this potter gives you to the world in this form, in this lifeless form, నిన్ను ఈ ప్రాణం లేని కుండగా ఈ ప్రపంచానికి ఇవ్వడానికి ముందు నీవు ఆ పాటర్ యొక్క వీల్ మీద గిరగిరా గిరగిరా తిరుగుతున్నప్పుడు నీలో కలిగినటువంటి ఆ భావాలు ఏమిటి, ఆ ఫీలింగ్స్ ఏమిటి, నాతో చెప్పవా అంటున్నాడు దిస్ హరీంద్రనాథ్ చటోపాధ్యాయ. సో దిస్ ఈస్ ద క్వశ్చన్ పోజ్డ్ టు ద earthen goblet by the poet, right? And now what is the answer given by this earthen goblet? So here you see that I felt a conscious impulse. The earthen goblet itself is talking to this poet, and he says, this earthen goblet says, I felt a conscious, knowing impulse. Impulse means what? Urge, a strong desire. Oh poet, I have developed some strong desire in me. In my claim means within me, నా లోపల ఒక గట్టి బలమైన కోరిక ఉద్భవించింది. What is that impulse? What is that urge? Urge means strong desire to break away from the great potter's hand. So this is also again an enjoyment, okay? To my clay, to break away. Continuation is there. The sentence is continuing, okay? To break away. To break away means what? To run away. పారిపోవాలని. అయ్యా ఒక ఈశ్వర, ఆ పాటర్స్ వీల్ మీద నన్ను పెట్టి వాడు గిరగిరా తిప్పుతుంటే అప్పుడు నాలో గట్టి కోరిక వచ్చి కలిగింది. వాట్ ఈస్ దాట్? టు బ్రేక్ అవే, టు రన్ అవే ఫ్రమ్ ద గ్రేట్ పాటర్స్ హ్యాండ్. ఫ్రమ్ ద గ్రేట్ పాటర్స్ హ్యాండ్. Here great is used to describe this potter. Great means very skillful. He's a skillful person, because he's making pots, beautiful earthenware. He's a great potter. In the hands of this potter, the clay takes different shapes. Okay, that's why, here the poet has used this word great. The great potter's hand. The skillful potter's hand. Potter's hand means here not from the hand, from his control. Oh poet, when I was being twirled on that wheel, I developed in my heart a strong urge. What is that strong urge? To break away, to run away, to escape from the great potter's hand that is control. From the great potter's control, I wanted to run away. That burned so well. You know very well. What did this hand do? That burned me. That burnt me or burned me. The forms of burn, burnt, burned. So these are the forms, So the hand, what did the potter's hand do? That hand burned so warm. That means that hand burned this goblet mercilessly, cruelly. Okay, I felt a vast feeling of sorrow. So this is also again an enjoyment. I felt a vast feeling of sorrow. The sentence is continuing with this. What did I feel in my heart? First one is to break away from his control, one point. And next, I felt a vast feeling of sorrow. A vast feeling of sorrow means vast feeling of sadness. To be cast into my present. To be cast means at the time of being cast into this present shape, into this present goblet shape. Okay, I felt a lot of sorrow. I felt a lot of sorrow. I felt a lot of grief in the process of being cast, being shaped into my present form. What is the present form of this goblet? Goblet. The goblet is the present form. Earlier, it was in the form of only clay. Or you can also call it earth, mattiga, banka mannuga. That was its earlier stage. But now it has been turned into a lifeless earthen goblet. Okay, so this is the meaning of this, and here I have given you the picture of this potter also, and this is the wheel, and on this wheel, how that is whirling. So the potter will wheel it, swirling, all are one, rotates. He will rotate it. Then when it is going round and round and round and revolving, what happens? He will shape this one. Here you look at this. Okay, for your convenience, I have given this picture. Okay, that's very simple. You can also easily understand such a simple and easy poem. Right, now let's go to learn the remaining poem. This is the remaining part of the poem. Before that fatal hour, deadly moment. Fatal means deadly moment. What is the deadly moment of this earthen goblet? Being burnt in the furnace. Being burnt in the furnace. What happens, with the help of the clay, the potter makes a pot or a goblet. Then in that unburnt clay, there is life. But when that clay is burnt, it loses its life. It becomes lifeless. And that's why here he says, it's a deadly moment. Very deadly moment. Very dangerous, a terrible moment. ఆ భయంకరమైన గడియ నన్ను ఆ ఫర్నేస్ లో పెట్టి కాల్చుతున్న ఆ భయంకరమైన గడియలో వాట్ హ్యాపెండ్ బిఫోర్ దాట్ దట్ సా మీ ఎ క్యాప్టివ్ ఆన్ ద పాటర్స్ wheel. Before that fatal hour, what happened? That saw me a captive on the potter's wheel. What was that? Before that deadly moment, what happened? This earthen goblet was a captive. Captive means what? A prisoner. Captive means one who is captured. Captured, arrested. That's called captive. Is a prisoner, in other words. So that saw me a captive. What happened? So the potter made this earthen goblet a prisoner on the potter's wheel. On this potter's wheel, this goblet was made a captive. He made a prisoner. And a prisoner cannot escape anywhere because every security will be there. Nobody can run away from the jail. In the movies, it will be shown that the prisoners have escaped from the jail and all that. They show that, but it is not that possible. Of course, it's very difficult. Okay, right. That's why this earthen goblet was made a captive. Where? On the potter's wheel. That means it was not allowed to run away. It was made a prisoner. That's that. And cast into this crimson goblet's wheel. And that potter, what did he do? He cast this goblet into this crimson. Crimson means red goblet sweep, lifeless. So it means again lifeless goblet. And what did the potter do? He made me a prisoner on that potter's wheel and cast or shaped or turned into this red lifeless goblet. Ayya, Kavishwara, ee potter తన యొక్క ఆ వీల్ పైన నన్ను ఒక బందీగా చేసుకొని నన్ను ఈ విధమైన అంటే ఎర్రగా ఉన్నటువంటి మరి ప్రాణం లేనటువంటి ఒక నిర్జీవమైన వస్తువుగా ఒక గాబ్లెట్ గా నన్ను తయారు చేశాడు. సో అది సో ఐ యూజ్ ఇట్ టు ఫీల్ ద ఫ్రాగ్రాంట్ ఫ్రెండ్. దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఫ్లాష్ బ్యాక్. Now the goblet is ruminating over its past sensations. When this goblet was at peace with Mother Earth, when this goblet was part and parcel of this Mother Earth, ఈ మట్టిలో ఈ భూమిలో ఆ earthen goblet ఒక పార్ట్ గా ఉన్నప్పుడు what happened? And here I use it to feel the fragrant friendship of a little flower. And when I was in my past, what happened? When I was with Mother Earth, what I used to do? I used it to smell the fragrant friendship of a little flower. That means, I used it to breathe in the fragrant smell of all flowers blooming over me. నా ఎదపైన పెరిగిన చెట్ల నుండి వచ్చే ఆ పువ్వుల యొక్క మధురమైన వాసనలు పీల్చుకుంటూ అలా ఉండేటటువంటి దానను, whose root was in my bosom buried. And the roots of all those flowery plants, flowery trees have rooted in my heart. The roots of those trees, those plants are deep in my bosom, are deep in my heart. అవన్నీ నా ఎదలో పెరిగి పెద్దగా అయినటువంటివి. సో at that time, it was a part and parcel of the earth. కుండగా మారినప్పుడు అది మట్టి రూపంలో ఉంటుంది, మట్టి అన్నప్పుడు భూదేవి రూపంలో ఉంటుంది, భూమి రూపంలో ఉన్నప్పుడు అక్కడ అనేక మొక్కలు ఉంటాయి, అనేక చెట్లు ఉంటాయి. వాటన్నిటి ఒక సుగంధ పరిమళాలు పీల్చుకుంటూ తాను ఎంతో ఐ యూజ్ టు ఫీల్ వెరీ హ్యాపీ, ఐ యూజ్ టు ఫీల్ వెరీ జాయ్ఫుల్. దట్ వాజ్ మై పాస్ట్, రైట్? అండ్ the potter has drawn out the living breath of me. So here now this is blaming. The goblet is blaming this potter. The goblet is cursing this potter. Blaming and cursing the potter. What is this goblet saying? The potter has taken out. Drawn out means taken out. అయ్యా కవీశ్వరా, ఆ పాటర్ ఎంత దుర్మార్గుడు అంటే నా ప్రాణాన్ని తీసేసుకున్నాడు. He has taken out what? The living breath of me, the life out of me. అదండి నా దీన గాథ, something like that. So the potter has drawn out the living breath out of me. నాలోని జీవాన్ని ఆ దుర్మార్గుడైనటువంటి పాటరు తీసేసుకున్నాడు. And given me a form which is the death of me, and given me this form of goblet. ఈ గాబ్లెట్ రూపం నాకు ఇచ్చాడు. ఇట్ ఈస్ ఈక్వల్ టు డెత్, ఇట్ ఈస్ జస్ట్ లైక్ డెత్. ఇది నాకు మరణం లాంటిదే కదా. ఐఎమ్ డెడ్ ఇన్ దిస్ గాబ్లెట్. I am the clay, but I am dead in this pot. ఈ గాబ్లెట్ లో మట్టిగా ఉన్నాను, కానీ మట్టి ఎలాంటిది? నిర్జీవమైనట్టు లైఫ్లెస్ క్లే. కాబట్టి దిస్ ఈజ్ ఈక్వల్ టు డెత్. This goblet form is just like death to me. I am dead. I am artificial now. I have no life in me. Earlier, I used to enjoy the fragrance of the flowers around me. The fragrance of the flowers whose roots were deep in me. సువాసన భరితమైన పుష్పాలను పూసే ఆ చెట్లని నా ఎదలో పెరగగా ఆ పుష్పాల యొక్క వాసనలు పీల్చుకుంటూ నేను హ్యాపీగా ఉండేదాన్ని. అలాంటి నన్ను తీసుకొచ్చి దిస్ వాటర్ ఏం చేశాడు? ఆ చక్రం మీద గిరగిర తిప్పి నన్ను కాల్చి ఒక ఎర్రని కుండగా మార్చి ఒక ప్రాణం లేని వస్తువుగా చేశాడు అని చెప్పి. సో దిస్ earthen goblet is answering the question of this Harindranath Chatopadhyaya. It's a very pathetic poem in a way. చాలా బాధాకరమైన విషయం. Of course, we are all doing that now. And this is all about this poem. And very quickly, what all I have taught here, I would like to give you the meaning of the poem line by line, very quickly. Line by line summary of the earthen goblet. Okay. Oh silent goblet, read from head to heel. That is the first line. What is the meaning of this? The poet addresses the silent earthen goblet. Silent means, I have already told you, lifeless earthen goblet, saying that it is reddish from top to bottom. ఆ పాదమస్తకంగాను రెడ్డిగా ఉన్నాను. దట్స్ ద మీనింగ్. ఓకే, వెరీ క్లియర్, సింపుల్. ఓకే, ఐ నీడ్ నాట్ గివ్ ద తెలుగు మీనింగ్ ఆల్సో. హౌ డిడ్ యూ ఫీల్ వెన్ యూ ఆర్ బీయింగ్ ట్రిల్డ్? ద సెకండ్ లైన్. హౌ డిడ్ యూ ఫీల్ మీన్స్ the speaker asked the goblet about its feelings when it was being swirled or whirled or rotated. Twirled means swirled, swirled means whirled, whirled means rotated. గిరగిరా తిప్పుట, గిరగిరా తిప్పబడినప్పుడు నీలో కలిగిన ఫీలింగ్స్ ఏంటి? దట్స్ వాట్ ద మీనింగ్ is here. Okay, and you go to the third line. Upon the potter's wheel. Okay, the meaning of this, whirled. Okay, on the potter's wheel. Where is this goblet twirled? Upon the potter's wheel. Okay, right. And here, before the potter gave you to the world. Before the potter gave you to the world means before the potter presented it to the world. Before the potter presented this goblet to the world. ఈ గాబ్లెట్ను ప్రపంచానికి అందివ్వడానికి ముందు ఎలా జరిగింది ఇదంతా? నీకు ఎలా ఫీల్ అయ్యావు? ఆయన చక్రం మీద గిరగిరి తిప్పుతుంటే ఎలా ఫీల్ అయ్యావు? నేను ఆ ఫర్నేస్లో పెట్టి కాలు పెడుతుంటే ఎలా ఫీల్ అయ్యావు? ఆల్ దీస్ థింగ్స్ లైక్. ఓకే, రైట్. ఐ ఫెల్ట్ కాన్షియస్ ఇంపల్స్ ఇన్ మై క్లే. Conscious impulse, I have already. Whereas no impulse, strong impulse. Impulse means I have already urge. Okay, here the goblet says it has felt a conscious being aware of. Conscious means being aware of urge within its material. In my clay means within its material. That's the meaning. And here, to break away from the great potter's hand. What is the meaning of this? To run away or to escape from the potter's hand means control. That's the meaning. Right. And that burned so warm, I felt it. It goes to the meaning of the second line. So let us see the potter's hand. That means the potter's hand. Burned so means that the potter's hand that burned it mercilessly. Sorry. The potter's hand burned it mercilessly. That is not there, please drop it. The potter's hand burned it mercilessly, and the goblet experienced a strong. I felt a vast means the goblet experienced a strong. It's continuing. The meaning of this line is continuing in the other line. Okay, here what is that? Feeling of sorrow to be cast. So what is the meaning of that? Feeling of sadness while being shaped. Again, this is continuing. This line is continuing in this line is continuing to that line. So here, now let's go to the feeling of sadness while being shaped, okay, into my present form. Into my present form means into its current form. Current means present, okay. Current magazine, current month, something like that. Before that fatal hour, okay, before that deadly moment when it was shaped, okay, అది అలా గిరగిరా తిప్పబడి goblet గా మార్చబడ్డ ఆ టైం, that is the deadly moment for this goblet, okay. And that saw me captive on the potter's wheel. So during that time what happened? It was held like a chained prisoner. It cannot he cannot run away because his legs were chained, his hands were chained, okay. And therefore this prisoner cannot run away. In the same way, this captive, this goblet was like a captive on the potter's wheel. Then the captive cannot run away, and in the same way the goblet also could not run away or escape from the cruel hands of the potter, okay. And here, and cast into this crimson goblet sleeve. Crimson means, I have already told you, red. Goblet sleeve means lifeless goblet, and turn it into a red lifeless. Crimson goblet sleeve means red lifeless goblet, right. You go to the remaining lines. I use it to feel. This is the flashback of the earthen goblet. I use it to feel. That means I use it to enjoy. I use it to enjoy. What? Here, it remembers its past sensations. That's why it says, I use it to enjoy. I use to feel. It remembers, the goblet remembers its past sensation when it is used to feel joyful. At that time, it was very joyful. It used to feel joyful. It used to feel happy, cheerful, and all that. Okay. And here, the fragrant friendship. Fragrant means sweet smelling friendship of a little flower. Because the sweet smelling flower bloomed just on the bosom of this earth. ఈ అర్థన్ గాబ్లెట్ మట్టిగా ఉన్నప్పుడు ఆ మట్టి మీద మొక్కగా ఎదికినటువంటి ఈ యొక్క మొక్కకు పూచిన ఆ పువ్వు యొక్క సుగంధ పరిమళాలు పీల్చుకుంటూ ఈ అర్థన్ గాబ్లెట్ అక్కడ చాలా హ్యాపీగా ఉంటుంది ఒరిజినల్ షేప్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు. బట్ నౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ టర్న్డ్ ఇంటూ ఎ గాబ్లెట్, రైట్. It's a pathetic thing. It had a close friendship with the sweet smelling flower. That's the meaning of this. Whose root was in my bosom buried. That means, the roots of the flower were deep within the clay that now forms into a goblet. And that clay is now turned into a goblet, right. And here 16th line, the potter has drawn out the living breath of me. The drawn out means taken out. Very simple. The poem itself is very simple. Any ordinary man can also read and enjoy and understand this. Okay. The potter took away its natural essence, natural life, or life itself, you can say. Breath means life, okay. And the last line of this poem is, and given me a form which is the death of me. That means, the potter, what did the potter do? And the goblet is given a new form, an artificial form, which is without life. Which is this new form. What is this new form? Goblet. But what is this new form? Which is without life. ప్రాణం లేని ఆ నిర్జీవమైన వస్తువు రూపంలోకి నన్ను ఆ పాటర్ మార్చాడు. So there's a meaning of this. Now the last thing is, just in 5 minutes we are going to learn about the literary devices the poet has employed in this poem in order to bring beauty and charm or music or quality to the poem. Okay. Now let us look at the literary devices used in this poem. Literary devices. Okay. The Earthen Goblet by Harindranath Chatopadhyaya employs several literary devices to enhance its themes and emotional impact. For that purpose, this poet has employed several literary devices. Okay, next point here is, here are some of the key literary devices used in the poem. What is the first one? Personification. In the poem, this is a beautiful personification. The goblet is given human qualities. This is personified. The goblet is personified means given human feelings and the ability to speak. Can the goblet speak? Can the goblet feel sorrow? Can the goblet feel the cruelty of the potter? Can it do that? Only the human beings can do that. But here, this goblet is personified and it is given human feelings and it is also given the ability to speak. And therefore, it is expressing its sorrow and experiences to the speaker. What is the goblet doing in this poem? It is expressing its sorrow, first point, and it is also expressing its experiences to the speaker. Sorrow and experiences to the speaker. Two things it is doing. I felt a conscious impulse in my clay. నేను ఒక బలమైన కోరికను కలిగి ఉంటుంది. నేను, the goblet is saying, just like a human being, okay, I felt a conscious impulse, urge in my clay, within my material, within my clay, within my. And here one more, the potter has drawn out the living breath of the potter has taken out the life out of me. ఆ పాటర్ నాలోంచి లైఫ్ తీసేసి, సో మరి గాబ్లెట్ లైఫ్ ఏ ఉండదు, అది అంటుంది నా ప్రాణాన్ని ఆ పాటర్ తీసుకెళ్ళాడు, సంథింగ్ లైక్ దట్. ఓకే, దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ పర్సానిఫికేషన్. ఓకే, అండ్ నౌ we go to the other literary devices. Imagery means visualization. Vivid images are used to evoke sensory experiences and emotions, such as, so one or two examples are there. Oh silent goblet, read from head to heel. So when you read this line, you visualize that silent goblet. You visualize the shape of the goblet, and it is red from top to bottom. That picture will flash on your mental screen, right? And another example is given, I think here, the fragrant friendship of a little flower. So when you read this line, what happens? Automatically your mind thinks about the flower that has bloomed on the bosom of the earth. భూమి యొక్క ఎదపైన మొలిచిన మొక్క యొక్క పూలు, and you visualize that. Okay, right. And here these two things are imagery, beautiful used in this poem. Okay, and a metaphor is there. That transformation of the clay into a goblet serves as a metaphor for the loss of natural organic life and the imposition of new artificial form. So the poem itself looks like a metaphor. So here I have given some example, and given me a form which is the death of me. So here, and given me a form which is the death, means direct comparison is called metaphor. So here, which is the death of me, which is like death to me. That is the, this like is dropped here, which is the death of me, means directly speaking, which is just like death to me. But that means which is just like death to me. So here like is dropped, therefore it's a direct comparison, therefore it is a metaphor, and like is used here, it is a simile. Okay, right. And one more example is given here, that saw me captive on the potter's wheel. That saw me captive, that made me like a captive. That saw me captive means that hand made me like a captive. That potter made me like a captive. Made me captain, direct comparison. That means made me like a captain. So this like is dropped here. So it's metaphor. This is what a simile, right? And now we go to other literary devices. Symbolism is there. The goblet symbolizes the loss of freedom and the loss of original form. So it's symbol. A goblet means it's a symbol of lifeless object. Okay, the loss of freedom, the loss of original form. So it stands for that. Okay, it stands for one thing, the loss of freedom. No freedom will be there in this, and the loss of original form, original shape. So in this, original shape will be out, and artificiality you can find, right? And the potter represents the force that imposes change from change and form upon the clay. Okay, the potter represents the force that imposes change and form upon the clay that is there. The flower rooted in the clay symbolizes a natural life and unaltered existence. What does this flower rooted in the bosom means? So natural life, and it symbolizes natural life. Okay, the roots of that flower are deep in my heart. That means that indicates that symbolizes a natural life, unaltered existence. The potter is a symbol for this force. The flower is a symbol for natural life. We go to the next one. Alliteration is there. The poem uses alliteration to create a musical quality and emphasize certain phrases. Okay, such as, what are they? So here, felt a vast feeling of sorrow. So far. So alliteration means whenever in two or more than two words, if the same consonant is repeated, then it is called alliteration. So here, felt a vast feeling, far like that. So here, fragrant friendship, far again. In this also far. So these two sounds are given. So this is alliteration. And you go to the other literary devices. Contrast is there. What is the contrast? There is a contrast between the goblet's past and the present states, highlighting what is that? the transformation from a natural living state, that is clay. Contrast, an inanimate, lifeless, artificial object, the goblet. So clay has life, goblet has no life. So this is the contrast. భేదము చూపడం, contrast. So this clay has life, goblet has no life. Contrast. Right. So that contrast is also presented in this poem, and enjambment is there. Enjambment means what? The poem implies enjambment where lines will flow into each other without a pause. One line flows into another line without a pause, without a comma, without a full stop, without a semicolon, without a colon, whatever it is. Without a pause, it will be flowing into the next line. So reflecting the continuous and intermittent process of transformation. Okay, and here I felt a conscious impulse in my clay to break away from the greater part of self. So this is enjoyment. Next, I felt a vast feeling of sorrow. You cannot stop there. I felt a vast feeling of sorrow. No, I felt a vast feeling of sorrow to be cast into my present form. So this is one sentence. So, but it is in the poet, we cannot call it a sentence, but we only call them lines. So this line has entered this line has flowed into this line. So it's like that. Okay, this is enjambment. Apostrophe is there. Addressing a non-living object is called apostrophe. So here the poem starts with the speaker directly addressing the goblet. Goblet is a non-living object, okay, which helps create a sense of close intimacy. If you address this goblet, oh God, silent goblet, when the poet says that, you feel that there is some close intimacy between the poet and that goblet. So it creates some kind of sense of close intimacy, isn't it? Oh, silent goblet, something like that. Right. And here the devices, and these devices work together to convey the poem's themes of transformation, loss of life, and the conflict between natural existence and artificial creation. So all these little devices to enhance the beauty of the poem. Okay, and with this the video comes to an end. Thank you so much for watching this video. Dear DSC candidates, thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any problem in understanding anything, please mention it in the comment section, and with another beautiful video I shall be back to you. Until then, bye, see you all of you. Right.